Guys, today I'm going to show you 8 upcoming mobile games that look pretty cool, pretty interesting. A big bummer with a lot of the upcoming releases throughout the next month or two is that they're games that have already been out on PC and are just getting mobile port, or they have been out in other regions and are finally coming to mobile. But there's also some interesting ones that seem like they could be pretty good, as long as they're not filled with microtransactions and pay-to-win mechanics, which, let's be honest, most of them are. Also, keep in mind that some games like Awaken Chaos Era, Girl Gun Cafe, Adventure of Die, and more that we've shown in previous videos, I'm not going to keep showing them every month. I'm going to show you new things that we haven't talked about before. Speaking of pay-to-win mechanics, first on the list is a new game by Congregate, SpongeBob Idle Adventures. Of course, if there's a SpongeBob game coming, we have to at least mention it, so this may not be the most exciting, best SpongeBob game on mobile, but for those fans of SpongeBob, it will be a fun gameplay experience on the toilet for a week or two. I really wouldn't invest money or long-term gameplay into it, though. It's a Congregate game, which they usually make fun games, but they're geared towards younger audiences, and they tend to be pretty heavily monetized, so free-to-play toilet game for a week or two is the best way to go. Next is something you may not have heard of, The Fifth Arc. This is a top-down shooter RPG set in a post-apocalyptic world. I love the post-apocalyptic setting in general, so of course I'm down to play a lot of the stuff in this genre. This one in particular is done by Yuzu, which has been pumping out a lot of games lately. I really like some of the games they put out, like Saint Seiya and Dynasty Scrolls. In stark contrast to the last one being relatively unknown, Pokemon Unite is coming to mobile, another one with a version on a different platform, the Nintendo Switch, although the gameplay on both should be fairly similar and straightforward, the Switch having a lot of similarities to mobile since it's mobile in itself. Many people have mixed opinions on Pokemon Unite, both of which are valid, but love it or hate it, it is coming. This one I think you guys might like the most at first glance. However, it's a game that was already released in some other regions a long time ago. Like I mentioned at the beginning, China was well over a year ago, Japan was around 9 to 12 months ago, and now we're finally getting it on global. The game is Final Gear, and it's a mech waifu battler game. It's sad that it took us so long to get this, like a lot of other Chinese, Japanese, Korean games with global releases, years after the game is initially released in other regions, which often kills global releases because a lot of global players don't want to play old games where people have already played them for years and have to compete with players way ahead of them. The game looks good though. It will be interesting to see if the global release is as strong as they hope, or if being an old game will make it fizzle in popularity. This one is fairly straightforward. It's a Clash Royale style of game named Castlecraft. It's in a slightly different style, still medieval, could be good, could be fun. There's a lot of games in this genre, but it looks like it might be at least worth checking out. Remember guys, if you want to stay up to date with all sorts of new mobile games and fun stuff, you know what to do. Next up we have Starlit Kart Racing. I love these little kart racing games that remind me of Mario Kart and the old school days of gaming. This game, Starlit Kart Racing, is actually a bigger, better, more upgraded version of a previous game, Starlit on Wheels Super Kart, which is actually based on the Starlit franchise developed by Rockhead Games, and has multiple different games with the same characters like a platformer, shooter, and more, but this new upgraded version of Starlit on Wheels, Starlit Kart Racing, is also coming soon. Let's move on now to Minion Masters Remastered, and if this looks familiar to you, this is one of those games I mentioned at the beginning that has had a PC version for the past few years and is now revamping it and coming to mobile. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing as far as gameplay. There's been a lot of good stuff said about the original Minion Masters game on PC, but might be looking at more pay-for-power mechanics now that it's on mobile. I'm definitely interested to try this out, at least when it comes out. I just hope it doesn't ruin itself by being a pay-to-win game on mobile now. And last but not least, this is a game that I really did not think I'd be putting on this list, but it actually looks like it could be really fun. It's called Red Shoes and the Wood Bear World. So the thing about this game is that the IP it's based on is an animated movie for kids, but it seems like they may have actually made a decent game behind all of that. I see the actual gameplay, I see some mechanics that are in bigger RPGs that don't necessarily target kids, and I'm wondering if they were trying to make this a game that breaches generations, that parents can play with kids and not be bored doing it. Anyway guys, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Click some buttons, and I will see you as always in the next one.